Hail, hail, the Celtic Star here, and what the hell do we care now? Good to see you all. Here's a bunch of yous live and loud and ready to go. The chat is on fire already, guys. Love to see it on what's supposed to be the hottest day of the summer. So thanks to everyone that is tuning in live. If you're catching this after we've been live, of course, fist bump to you all. Thanks for tuning in. And I didn't really want to do a recording for the Wednesday show this week because, like, what the hell is there even to talk about? So I thought, let's just go live. Let's throw stuff at me. Let's see what's been going on today. I've actually been, it's the last day of the summer holidays for my kids. They go back to school tomorrow. So last night we had our last kind of little kind of outing with the family, as it were. We did a wee bit of camping on the loch, which has been a bit of a go-to move for the Quins this summer, and great weather yesterday. Managed to get myself out in the dinghy, get some sun on my balls, and we had a great old time, as it were. But yeah, I don't even know really where to kick this off or where to start, because there is genuinely nothing going on. We've had the culmination of the last round of the Champions League qualification cycle or whatever. We know we're going to be going to Kazakhstan now in a 8,000-mile round trip. We've had Rangers reverse their decision so that they potentially might not be bottom after we beat them in a couple of weeks' time. And also their centre-back that's suspended, if he can get the St Mirren game chalked up for his suspension before then our game, he can play that game. So we've had some developments for all things Celtic. It feels more like Friday show chat. We can maybe get into a bit of that today if there is genuinely nothing else to go on. But I'm not too sure transfer-wise really where to go today, because beyond me just wouldn't this guy be good to sign, and wouldn't that guy be good to sign? We've kind of done that game. We're in episode 22 of this series. We have played that game really to the nth degree. I could go into the timeline. There's some developments of players that are becoming available. I think we should be in the mix for. But, how realistic is that, for the targets that we've seen kind of going around or whatever? I'm trying to see if there's anything on the chat that I can jump on to get us moving right away. But the one thing that is kind of jumping into the back of my mind, as I say, fist bumps to you all, and be sure to smash the like button. It just helps support the channel. If YouTube sees lots of you guys in the live chat and lots of likes, it thinks we're having a great time, and they might go find some more Jungle Gyms to come out and hang with us. We know that Brendan Rodgers loves the channel, is a big subscriber, but we probably need the algorithm to be a bit kinder to us so that we can get into the algorithm for the Celtic chairman, the Celtic board, the Celtic scouting department, so they can see the content here at the channel as well and get on board with it. But I think one of the things I thought, this could be something we could chat on, is I don't even know if it's a rumour or if it's wishful thinking or if it's just Celtic fans maybe with blinkers on, tunnel vision, only really able to talk about or regurgitate previous kind of links or whatever. Was the guy Strelic. I've seen some people again on the timeline talking about that Strelic should be, we should maybe go for him now because Bratislava have been eliminated. And yeah, he did look okay against us last year or whatever, right? But the fee that I see people chatting about for Strelic for Celtic, 5-6, we're not buying a guy from Slovakia for 5 or 6 million euros. If we're not going to buy Balikwisha from Belgium for 5 or 6 million euros, or Jacob Briem from Holland. So this Strelic stuff, it just confuses me beyond belief how Celtic fans who can quite clearly see that we're dropping the ball, fumbling the ball, or whatever for proper targets that are proven at a proper league that have, in Balikwisha's case, Champions League experience at the same price point versus a guy that plays in Bratislava that has some Champions League experience last season, right? Fair enough, right? But I don't think it's as credible as what we've seen elsewhere. But I did make a bit of an effort for today, because I was on the Axom show last Friday and I had to wear the third kit for the show on that one. So when I did the Axom spot on Monday, I wore the bad boy hoops one, and I thought for this one today we'll crack out the bumblebee. So I just got to have a wee bit of reputation repair in terms of the old football fashion, as it were. But great to see you all. Honestly, I'm always buzzing to come on and do these shows, especially when we do them live. But I'm normally extra hyped because there's maybe a thread to jump on to, something that's been happening. But I don't know what that's in relation to SSM, but if it's the Strelic thing, cool. If it's something else, you'll need to get me up to speed. Okay, we can look at Mayashiro. We had a look at Mayashiro briefly last week. I've had a wee bit more of a dig in, not quite as deep as we've done traditionally for this series, but I did kind of dig into that a little bit over the last couple of days, because I heard Liam Carrigan on Axom saying that was an actual rumor that was around in Japan, and if Liam's catching that in the actual press over that way, then it's Again, it's the same as Yamada. I didn't really think that was a real link. It transpired. Same with Inamura. It did actually happen. So Tasai Mayashiro could genuinely be a real one, I suppose. This is a guy that has the versatility and like the energy of a Celtic forward, of a Celtic frontman that we've seen from the likes of Kyogo and from Dyson over the last little while. So I certainly think that this is a guy we could be going after. The transfer fee wouldn't be, you know, too egregious or whatever. But the one thing I think about when I seen the Yamada and the Inamura links, and now the same with Mayashiro, is like from Celtic, it's, I don't know if it's lazy necessarily, but it's a bit one-dimensional, you know, where it's, you know, what's this guy going to cost? 4 million euros, 3. Let's go and find out what was the rumor actually saying in terms of costs. That's probably the only thing I've not got myself across at the moment, is what is the reported fee or whatever. So let's put him in plus Celtic and see what we get. See, I think it is only rumors or whatever, and some people are still putting the hypothesis out there, the theory out there, that this is we sell Maeda and bring this guy in right off the hop. I'm not too convinced that's the case. I think both Dyson and Hatate are nailed in for this year. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything that says a fee associated to it. It is more just kind of rumors and links and that sort of thing. But you've got to think this guy's going to be around the 3-4 million euro mark. And if that's the case, like, okay, fine. But it's, yeah, let's go get transfer marked up. The Twitter timeline wasn't really giving us much there. Let's go and have a look at this. But I think like this guy, would he add to Celtic? Yes, but that's kind of because we're in a kind of weak position right now where, like, you know, when I did the breakdown of the Aberdeen game the other day, I was saying, like, if we are going to cheap out on wingers, like, Kiskinen is somebody to think about. And that's the state that we're at. Like, someone like Kiskinen, fine player, and I mean fine as in, like, yeah, fine, like 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10 kind of guy. That guy would make a difference. And again, it's not really too hard. Its market value on this is very Celtic friendly. 1.3 million euros. When's his contract up? It can't be far away. Yeah, yeah, this is Ben Negren territory. This probably is a move that's going to happen, isn't it? I think we got Kyogo and or Dyson in a similar contractual situation here, where I think it might have been Kyogo because we did sign him mid J League season, and I think the contract thing might have played into that a little bit. So yeah, this might actually have a lot of legs in it. Wasn't sure if any of these were wee European teams. This one here looked at a Turkish badge, but it's not. This probably does happen, to be honest with you. Good versatility. I'm not too sure where we would actually plan on using them. I think a player like this that could come in, we're talking in yen, so that's, yeah, okay, I'll need to get the conversions out on that solid Raven Oscillate, but yeah, I think he could, you know, he's the sort of he's high energy, and I think from the little glimpse you've seen of Yamada, these guys have got good football IQ, they've got good team ethic in them, so he's not going to play left wing, obviously, because Dyson will be there. We're quickly forgetting about Jota quite often, and I think it's just because of the severity of his injury. But you would have to imagine it's predominantly for right wing, so that we don't need to start Forrest. And, you know, the versatility is maybe then a bridge we can cross later on if Ida's form doesn't recover, doesn't pick up. And yeah, like, again, being at Kawasaki and then going to Vissel, you know, he's obviously well thought of in Japan. It's probably a fine enough move, but it's just, it feels like penny pinching of the highest order again, if this is the next move we go for. He's won 3 Japanese championships, which is incredible. He's also got an East Asian championship winner. That's probably like it certainly is a national team thing. I don't know if it's a youth one, but, and a Japanese Cup winner 3 times as well. So highly decorated. And, you know, that's the one thing I did like about Dyson in particular. I'm not too sure if Kyogo actually won the J League. Vissel Kobe, although they were very good, they weren't actually like super dominant in the division. They may have won it one year. I think they had a good Champions League run one year. Player of the year, top goal scorer, 4 SPFLs, 2 Scottish Cups, 3 League Cups, and then we need to click an arrow. So yeah, maybe Kyogo's got some J League stuff that I'm forgetting about. Japanese Cup, yeah. Super Cup and Cup. Yeah, he didn't actually win the league in Japan. The Vissel Kobe weren't like, even though they had Iniesta, Kyogo, and 1 or 2 other players like Kikuchi and whatever, they weren't like super dominant in the division. So I think Kawasaki have more been that kind of mold. Obviously, the team we got Hatate from in the first place. J League is a far higher standard than SPL. It definitely is on like football ability, but in terms of like physicality and I wouldn't even say athleticism. So I do think the Japanese lads are very good athletes, but I think, yeah, but mainly is physicality and grit. I think that the SPFL has over the J League, but there's been enough like you look at Kobayashi, for example. I think Kobayashi is someone to be remembered in this regard because he is a guy that was very good in the J League, very, very good, very well thought of, and didn't really make the grade for us, and subsequently has found it quite tough in Europe to get some minutes. He's just moved to Poland this summer, and his team is playing Europa Conference League qualifiers or something like that. So, again, like I do think the J League is above the SPFL in terms of if you took a random J League team mid-table and took them against like whoever you'd consider like mid-bottom in the league this year, the J League team probably scuds them. But at the top of the league, I think Celtic and Hearts would probably beat most J League teams overall, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's a bit of a funny one because there's a culture thing in there as well. Because on the same note, you could argue that trying to think of a good example, like the Mexican League. The Mexican League is of quite a high level, but not a lot of those guys actually make it into Europe. Because the Mexican League, although there's a lot of really high caliber football there, like great goal scorers, players with flair, great players with tenacity. I don't really know what it is. I don't really follow the Mexican League that well, but not that many of them really migrate into Europe. If they're really good, they'll go into South America, and if they're okay, they'll probably go to MLS for a bit of a payday. And in saying that, Mexico pays pretty good money, as it were, to be honest with you. Yeah, Kyogo in Birmingham is all the kind of chat now. So the Mayashiro, actually seeing the contract status there, I think that probably is a bit of a goer, a bit of a mover. With the associated transfer fee that we see here, why have we not done the deal already? When we've done the Yamada deal so easily around the same price point, is the only hesitancy I would have around that. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say on that. I think it would be a good player. It would definitely add into the quality, add into the options we've got, but it just feels like phoning it in a little bit. Like, oh, who's a good guy in the J League that is playing for one of the big teams that has a good track record, scores goals, wins stuff, but we can get at a cut price for some reason. So that's probably where my apathy maybe comes from. I don't know if I'd quite go as far as apathy, but it's the only word I can think of. So yeah, it's not too bad. I did see what the hell's his first name again? Isaac. I did see today that Seville have said Isaac Romero can make a move and leave. Now, Isaac Romero, he's not like, he's 25, he's worth €6 million on this. And I think if you looked at his goal scoring record, it's not super great. But this guy is a Celtic striker. This guy is really high energy, like a good front presser. And he's a lethal finisher. He's maybe not, and again, I maybe didn't look at his numbers to totally qualify what I'm saying, but he's not super prolific. Seville have been really minging over the last couple of seasons. I'd maybe say 2 or 3. I do say this guy, he looks a lot, maybe we'll go back to the last picture, but he looks a lot like the Spanish Tony Watt. Yeah, his numbers aren't that great, but again, Seville have been really minging. This is in La Liga as well, but he's got a really good, he does have a killer instinct. If you look at this guy's goals, like he has a finisher. Seville have not got much creation in them over the last 2 seasons. He has been their kind of shining light up front. And they've tried to, what Seville are like, they're very active in the transfer market. And they've tried to bring in all sorts of guys, even Iheanacho, who we were linked with. And this guy has been somewhat ever present. I think they need to sell him because they're so skint. Like Seville are on their arse. So if anyone from Celtic is watching this, maybe you don't fancy Isaac Romero, but Seville need to sell a lot of players. I was really a big fan as well of another player in Spain who, in a very, I'm pretty sure his first name's Sergio, in a very similar way. Yeah, he's been a wee bit too injury prone, but Sergio Camelo, whatever you want, this guy is a Celtic striker as well. Very high press and has that kind of Spanish kind of instinct. Is maybe not as quite as and saying that, Camelo's got a good finish in him, but he's been at some really bad teams, like Rayo Vallecano. He was on loan somewhere else as well, and it's more about being against the ball, trying to make counter attacks and that sort of stuff. His value did peak. Yeah, he was on loan at lower teams, came out of the Atletico Madrid Academy. I would really love us to be going after guys like this type of profile that have played. I think Spain is really fertile ground for Celtic level players, guys that are good on the ball, guys that have high energy and play that kind of Brendan Rodgers way where you want them to be good with the ball at their feet. But we never seem to be linked or shop or do anything. And at Spain, I've seen that Rangers are going to be signing the guy Mendy from Betis. He's good. He's okay. Played a lot last year, but he only played because of injuries. Physically very strong. And again, he's been good enough to play for a top La Liga side often enough. So again, Rangers are doing business that we should be doing in some ways. Like they're like the Ant-Man thing. We don't need to rehash that today. Yeah, that's probably quite true. I think, Big Dom, we've been quite clear on this channel that I think we're going to spend 30 million. A lot of the rumours and a lot of the chat and the timeline is kind of saying, oh, Celtic have got 40 million and whatever. I think that's probably the case, but I just do wonder how, like how are we going to spend it and on who? The show we did this time last week was who's left? Like who is really left out there? And I think one of the top names I was kind of throwing out there was Dominic Fitz. And again, I can't say it enough. If we are kind of looking for around these other leagues that are on parity with, that's a good one, that are on parity with the SPFL or, clubs that are kind of shopping in the same realm as Celtic, Fitzy is as good as they come. Like, honestly, can play in all the positions we want him to. His contract is up next year. And they've still got qualifying to do. So we're maybe waiting to see their qualification cycle unfold, Austria Vienna, to see where they go before they maybe similar to Celtic. We've said to people before, after Champions League qualifiers, even if we get in, we'll let you go. They might have some sort of arrangement with him as well, perhaps. But this is a guy that can play effectively out wide. It's kind of similar to Negren and Briem, better centrally. I would want Fitz as a striker for us, but he could play that kind of false nine position that we've seen Ida try to do, and not either was trying to do false nine, but he dropped into pockets against Aberdeen. We've seen Yamada drop into pockets against Aberdeen. He could certainly do that himself. So yeah, this is a guy that, again, I think we should just be really going after. And one thing I really didn't want to do on the show today is just rehash stuff that we've kind of said and spoke about already, because it just gets a bit dry, and I'd love to get... Now, Celtic fan is bringing up PSV. Now, this is something I do want to do when the window is finished, right? Is compare us to our colleagues. There's another term I'm forgetting it. You guys in the live chat may be able to help me out. But look at the business that these guys are doing. Now, PSV, I'm not even sure they've had that many big sales, but they've been, I suppose they got that Tillman sold, didn't they? Bakayoko, Lang. Yeah, they have made some money, haven't they? But they are just buying guys. PSV signed Mario Götze a few years ago, signed Walter Benitez in goals a few years ago as well. This is business like PSV, Benfica, Bruges, Ajax. So many clubs that are in our level of the food chain, as it were, not in a top 5 league, but dominant domestically and ever present basically in Europe, are doing. Alassane Playa, again, this is a move they did earlier in the window, and I thought, wow, look at that. 4.5 million euros for Alassane Playa. That is a move we should have been all over, like in a big, big way. Great experience. Guy at 32, you probably say he's past peak, but coming to PSV, going to a team like Celtic, you kind of wind the clock back, I think, a bit. Playing Champions League and, playing dominant domestic situations or whatever. Again, yeah, they're just kind of really putting teams like ours to shame. 8.5 million euros for a guy like Dennis Mann is a great deal to do. We should be doing deals like this, like we've spoke about already, for so many different players. Balikwisha is a name that always comes up, of course, and I did note Balikwisha was getting linked to France. Those links have quickly went away. I'm not even too sure how genuine they are, because I think the road from Belgium to France is well trodden. Teams like Lille, Nice, Brest, Lens, so many of those teams that are not PSG, Monaco, or Monaco even spend a lot of money in Belgium, actually. But outside the PSG, a lot of teams in France shop in Belgium. So if there was interest in France, his fee is well within the grasp of so many teams in France. If that was genuine, I think it would have happened by now. But since we've came back for the new season, which is from the Charleroi game here, the 25th of July, Balikwisha is fit. He's been back playing every game. Every game he's actually been performing pretty well. He's played number 10 in the first match here. They drew 1 each. The second game against Genk, they drew 1 each. He's played right of a midfield 3. It's probably kind of number 10, kind of free reign. Not watched the game, so it's hard to properly comment. And then at the weekend there, he got his goal against Leuven. He scored a penalty. He won a penalty for somebody else, and then they missed it. I've heard from McBride Ace. So very active, very much on it. You might even say he's in shop window form. Wouldn't be too surprised if we were going counterparts, 420. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to put that comment on screen. I was just yeah, not colleagues, it's counterparts. Thanks very much, chat, for catching. Piers, yeah, Piers is not bad as well. Red Tim, I like that. And yeah, I've kind of lost a wee bit of the chat here, what we're talking about. But I've normally put the box on screen, so I'll put the box on screen now for you all. But yeah, I think Balikwisha's kind of went quiet on him, but I wouldn't be surprised because I think the main thing Celtic have had a problem with is his injury record. And he came back fit last year. He's went through pre-season with Antwerp, and he's back firing for them, like on the pitch, doing pretty well and having a pretty good old time. So again, at 24 years of age, ticks all the boxes. It'd be so hard to imagine we don't spring for this guy. And it's hard to, like, who are we going for, man? Seriously, like, when the Simpson Pussy deal gets done, we've been linked to Andy Irvine as well. That was another thing I thought we'd be chatting about today. Yeah, Andy Irvine. We change that to Andrew, I think, don't we? By all accounts, is a fine player. West Ham firmly have him in their first team kind of fold. The West Ham fans I speak to speak very highly of him from what they've seen in the Premier League, Youth Premier League and all that kind of stuff. But make no mistake about it, this is an attacking midfielder. You know, this is a guy that you would probably see come off the bench, Luke McKibben style, you know, for us. And if we are going after this guy, he's rated at 3 million euros, apparently, big apparently, we've bid $1.5 million, typical Celtic. Where the hell does this guy play? You know, even if we do release Bernardo, sell Bernardo, like a lot of people are kind of suggesting or putting theories out there around at the moment because of his lack of minutes so far this year, where does this guy fit into the fold, really? You know, I don't get it whatsoever. Criminal that we don't have at least one more winger in. It is, River C, you're right. And I've seen a great tweet, someone saying, can we look at the fixtures? Let's look at the fixtures. How many minutes will James Forrest play? And I thought, wow, what a thought, by the way. Not in a super negative way, but just a reality sense of it. Like, let's have a peek at it. So James Forrest come off the bench against St Mirren, started and played 77 minutes against Aberdeen. We've got Falkirk on the Cup weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see Forrest start this. It could be Yang again, and we get Forrest to start against Kiryat. Both legs, you maybe play Yang against Livingston. But then if we're going to play Forrest against Kiryat home and away, you're then going to ask him probably to play against Rangers if that's the level of importance that Forrest now has to the starting 11. So it's a tough one. Do we need another midfielder? Well, it takes us to a nice wee point. We can put the squad depth on screen because the Bernardo chat's been coming back up. And honestly, like, hey, I'm as big a Celtic fan as anyone else. I love hanging out, talking with Celtic fans, all things hoops. But I really don't get Celtic fans' love obsession with Bernardo. For the most part, like, he's a good player, and like we've consistently said on the channel, he's a fine player. But the reality of it is, he was nowhere near the Benfica team. And at that time, you can go back through the channel, you'll find the videos there. If we are signing a guy that can't get in the Benfica team, how does he get into our team if we are meant to be aspiring to be of that level? You know, it's not really a one man's trash is another man's treasure situation like it is with Jota, who is a winger. Like, he wasn't going to get into the Benfica team, kind of for the same reason as Bernardo, that they just buy much better talent, or they maybe had some other guys coming through that are just ahead of him in the pecking order. But in the case of Bernardo, it's a case, you know, like what you're asking for from centre midfield for Benfica and for Celtic, you don't need that X factor of beating guys on the dribble, scoring goals from the edge of the box and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's as applicable to Jota as it is to Bernardo. But Bernardo, we want guys like this sitting on our bench. Engels, we want guys like Engels sitting on our bench. We don't have that if we have that kind of quality of Bernardo and Engels on the bench up front, we're in a great spot. We really are. Again, the quality that I've got Trusty here, we might as well swap them from what we've seen so far this season. It might change, but the quality we've got in depth for defence is fine, isn't it? It's maybe not quite that same level that we have it into midfield. And I know some of you guys maybe want a better backup than McKeown in here. I can get that. I understand it. I like McKeown a lot domestically. He didn't feature much in the Champions League last season, so that kind of tells you where Rodgers seen his limitations last year. Maybe this year things will change for him. But yeah, like the numbers of quality are okay in defence domestically. It's Champions League is maybe still where jury's out, but this feels like a joke, to be honest with you. Panicelli. I'll look it up, right? I'll look it up. I'll take the bait, but this doesn't feel like a real player. Panicelli. Oh, no, he is a real player. Oh, he plays at Strasbourg. That means he's probably going to be too expensive for us. Let's have a peek at this guy. Why have we to look at him, Darren M? He's got the number 9 shirt. Is he maybe just signed for them? Contract expires, date joined last summer. Oh, no, this summer. He's just signed for them, mate. I don't see this happening. Came from Alaves. Played 8 games in La Liga, 42 in La Liga 2. Guys, La Liga 2 has talent in it. Again, we were chatting about Andres Martin. He's still available. La Liga 2, do not write it off, man. There's some proper players that come out of this league now. Andres Martin would fit a massive hole for us in at right wing. Great techers, great talent, has the youth credentials we want, left-footed right winger. Contract's a bit long for Celtic's liking. That's brilliant. And Tafster, this is the day I've got it on this channel, I've did it on that. The day Derek McInnes got appointed, I said Hearts are finishing second this season, and I stand by it. Hearts are finishing second, which is why I made the joke earlier on about SPFL teams versus J League. Hearts and Celtic would beat a lot of them, the top 2 teams, kind of thing. But yeah, like he looks like a good shout. But the Bernardo thing, like, doesn't confuse me at all. You know, like really, like I don't think there's any will in the world that Bernardo gets into our best 11. I don't think Bernardo offers us much beyond cover. You know, but he has high level cover. This is the sort of cover we want. We don't want to be bringing in Odenholm as cover for that position. He's not ready. Maybe he'll be ready later on. Who knows? But if we've got Bernardo coming off the bench, enough guys like him. I like him. You know, everyone. I don't think anyone hates Bernardo or thinks he's not good enough. I love the fact that Bernardo, like that was the thing that kind of gave me a saving grace with him when we signed him. Is Benfica is the team of his life. Same with Jota. And it's part of the reason Jota worked out very well for us, that he just sees us as Scottish Benfica. He gets it. He knows what it's like for Benfica. He sees us as the exact same, but Scottish. And gives us all for the fans, gives us all for the shirt, wears it with pride. And I love Bernardo for that. I'm not chasing him out the door. I would never really chase him out the door unless it really was like a knock-on effect, a one-in, one-out situation, as is often the case with Celtic. But Bernardo doesn't do anything better than anyone else here. He's maybe got a little bit more defensive prowess than anyone else here, but it's a small margin. McGregor's defensive kind of ethic is really good without maybe having those spidey senses that we need or the muscle that we need. Bernardo has that muscle, maybe has a little bit more of the sense for danger. But again, I don't think the margin is really that significant for the most part, you know. So in midfield, I think we're well covered. But and you know, see one of the this is a great platform to say it on, right? We had, when was it? 2 weeks ago, Celtic have sent Paul Tisdale to look at Victor Eriksson of Hammarby, right? We see Victor Eriksson score a goal. Oh, he looks like a big centre back, whatever. Brendan Rodgers then says in the following press conference, Jemai Simpson-Pussy is the last centre back we are going to sign, and I'm really happy with my defence. He then goes and says at the weekend. So we send the scouts somewhere Thursday. Rodgers said on Friday, Simpson-Pussy is the last defender we're going to sign. Centre back. he did say defender, but it's probably centre backs. We all know we need another left back solution. Rodgers is kind of demonstrating that in the matches. He doesn't want Inamura to be considered the backup left back. We all get that. Then pre-match, was it pre-match Aberdeen? I think it was. Rodgers says, he says, I'm happy with the defence. I'm happy with the midfield. We need more up front. The next day, this Andy Irvine stuff comes out. And it's like, the manager just said yesterday, the midfield is fine. Get me strikers, get me forward firepower ammunition. And see if all this is real. And it's not like, I don't believe, I said at the time, we looked at the strikers that were involved in that Hammarby game. I don't think we were after the Hammarby defender. I think the Hammarby striker and the striker for Charleroi, they two guys we were probably looking at. If we were there to look at the defender, what a shambles we are. If Rodgers is going to say in a press conference on Thursday or Friday, I'm happy with defence and happy with midfield, and then Friday night, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, Monday, whenever it was, we're then pursuing Andy Irvine, what a shambles. Like, seriously, like, if that is actually happening, it is a shambles. It is a shambles, which makes me think the Andy Irvine thing has to be nonsense. Has to be nonsense. And the Victor Eriksson thing had to be nonsense as well. Tafstar, I don't mind other people coming in here, but if you're getting, if you're becoming problematic, I'll need to ban you, buddy. So wind it in a wee bit, and I don't want it. Yeah, I think you're being, just make sure we're all being here for fun, football chat. Keep it cool. And do you know, Craig White, I put the post out the day, I don't know when it was, but can I find the tweet? If we sign Jamie Vardy, all hell will break loose. Now, actually, in saying this, I think there's a place in the squad for someone like Jamie Vardy, because Adam Ida, Callum Osman, Shin Yamada need somebody that's a veteran finisher. No, I can't find. I'm not going to go digging that hard. We need a veteran striker to teach some of these guys the ropes. Now, we had Harry Kewell in the club before. I thought that was a great spot. He's not far off it, mate, to be honest with you. But we need someone. Like, scoring goals is the hardest thing in football, right? And I know from listening to Brendan Rodgers, I know from being a coach myself, and I know from listening to Rodgers, who is a Pep acolyte at the core. He is a Barcelona tiki-taka. That is Brendan Rodgers' core, right? And if you listen to all of those guys, Thierry Henry has got a very famous clip on Sky Sports News of saying, Pep used to say, my job is to get you to the final third, and your job is to make it happen from there on. I believe Brendan Rodgers operates the exact same way, where it's Brendan's job to build the team, to build the tactics, and you can see it so clearly, can't you? Let's go into a team page, rather than the depth page for this. You can see it so clearly where Brendan's job is to organise and command the team to build a shape where, let's just fix this so it looks like the way it did at the beginning of the game. And then once we get to the final third, guys, it's up to you. Take it from there. It's your show from then on in. And that feels like the way we play. Now, if that's the way we play, we need someone in the team, in the coaching department, in the squad that can bring the strikers we have. Because Osmond is an investment. Kenny is an investment. Shin Yamada is an investment. That is 3 strikers that the club see as investments. Adamida, the club sees as a player, right? Or as a player stroke investment. I don't think Celtic signed Adamida for 9 million quid, realistically expecting to make money on that deal. It's probably a deal where I said at the time, see if he can have a great Celtic career and we can get half of that back at the end of it. That'll be a good bit of business, really, when all things are said and done, ultimately. If he can have a good career before he jollies on, kind of thing. And if this is the way that Brendan still operates, and I think it is, we need someone that can come in here that is a veteran striker as a coach. That would be fine. But ideally, I think you want someone on the pitch that can score a few of the goals and kind of lead the charge. And there's a few of those guys kicking about. Jamie Vardy's a great example. Alassane Playa, knowing that, if you're a Celtic and you're tapped into scouts and all that, and you got a sniff that a guy like that would entertain going to a non-top 5 division to play Champions League football, Why we weren't in for someone like him, I've got no idea. We have seen the links to Sterling, Chiesa, and someone else, which I think they are just too far out of our range price-wise. But that sort of thing, we actually really need that in the squad. If it is a coach like Kuhn or something like that, I don't mind it either. But I wanted to see if he was retired, right? Because as a striker, one of my favourite strikers of the last 20 years, he is old as he is injury prone like you wouldn't believe, but he has recently regained some fitness. He is now unattached. I don't think you would need to pay him anything mad. But if we were to have a pipe dream, and it is a pipe dream of a mad veteran that we could just bring in for a 1-year contract to, give the strikers an extra bit of personality on the training ground or help, it's like we've had guys in the past, we could go through the roller decks of Celtic squads over the years where we bring veterans in, Kolo Tourés and, Ian Wrights and Dion Dublins and whatever. Some of them work, some of them don't. Fine. But if we were to have a pipe dream of someone else like that, I'd love to hear. Sorry, guys, the window's open because it's cooking today. But if there was your chat, guys, give me some of your veteran shouts. They have to be available. Don't just say, I don't know, like random guys that are in a big contract at a big team that are going nowhere anytime soon, like Giroud or whatever. Giroud would have been great, by the way. But for me, would be El Tigre, Radamel Falcao. Now, very injury prone. Made a lot of money in his career, but he did just start get back playing with Millonarios. He fell out with the team because there was some sort of registration thing. I think it was like internet. I think he was like, he owns a house in Miami and he goes to Miami quite a lot. I think there's a big Colombian thing there. And I think Donald Trump in America changed the stuff between being a Colombian resident and what you can do with American travel or whatever. I forget the details around it, but that's when he kind of checked out a little bit. But I would take this guy at Celtic on a 1-year contract, as long as you don't need to pay him anything mental, in a heartbeat. Absolute finisher. If he could score 10 goals in Scotland, it would be worth the money. If he can spend time on the training ground with Osman, Kenny, Yamada, and Ida and get something going for them, George Cadet, it's a bit late for that. A lot of people say get Chris Sutton onto the training ground, and sincerely, I know he's probably got some really big contracts with TV companies or whatever, but Chris Sutton, because of his eye for the game, his brain for the game, and his experience, like, I don't think there would be a better striker coach you could seriously bring in. Henrik Larsson would not be a bad shout either. Henrik Larsson has been the assistant manager at Barcelona not too long ago under Ronald Koeman. We're talking 3 seasons ago. He's tried to be a manager himself. It didn't really work out. Why not bring in Henrik as striker coach? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that would be that hard to achieve, really. Maybe he wouldn't want to do it, but he certainly has coaching experience, has shown a desire to do it to some extent. Giakoumakis has just went on loan to the team that Greg Taylor signed for and that Penrice signed for €2 million is a buy clause on that. I wouldn't. Oh, Louis. Now, Louis wouldn't be bad, right? But the problem with Suarez, I don't know if you've seen him, but he genuinely, you can see the pain barrier every appearance he's been making since signing for Miami. He went to Uruguay to have his last season and retire. And then Messi said, come on to Miami, pal. And genuinely, if you watch Miami for 10 minutes, you will see the pain that he goes through in every game. Luis Suarez in 5 years will be in a wheelchair probably, unless he gets rammed full of stem cells or whatever. Christian Eriksen, I like the idea of that a lot, but he's not taking minutes off Negren Heritate for me. No, but a lot of the guys in this category won't be able to run anymore, so we kind of accept that. Luis Suarez, Falcao, Giroud's moved. If there's anyone like that, Vardy, of course, is the chap. Cavani at Boca Juniors right now is on a lot of money, but Cavani could maybe work because he's still got Cavani's one of these guys that still physically operates at the same level, at a lower level. So like what Cavani was doing for like Napoli and PSG, you can still see a bit of that at Boca, but the age, so for Scotland, Cavani would look 5 years younger. I'd like that. But again, he's probably still on too rich of a contract to maybe entertain. But I like that shout. It's a good one. Oh, thank you very much, Tafster. As long as you're keeping it cool, keeping it clean, bring Henrik and Jordan. Now, talking about who's available and stuff like that, I said it before on the video last week. I don't want to be one of those guys, but I'm a Jordan Larsson. Like, I spent a season and a half watching him at Spartak Moscow. I got a YouTube subscription before the war. Russian Premier League, you used to be able to sign up to their YouTube channel and be a member. So £12 a month, and you could watch every Russian league game with English commentary. And for a season and a half, I watched every Spartak Moscow game Jordan Larsson played. And guys, it's the next best thing. You know, it's like you know, when you talk to a vegan mate and they're like, oh, you can't even tell the difference. It's like that, honestly. Like, he's got everything. What's his contract situation looking like again? It's not terrible. But he has just kind of he wasn't really a regular at Copenhagen. He had to kind of fight his way in. But they've sold that Rooney Bardghji to Barcelona, and they've had some other movements where he's now like a first-team player for them. But if there was one summer to do it, this would be it. I like that shout a lot. Yeah, Motherwell are doing good at the moment. Thanks very much. El Yunusi versus Haksabanovic. That'd be a good fight. Oh, yeah, tonight. Diego Costa, I think he's a bit too wild card, you know. Yeah, he's a wee bit too wild card for me, big Diego. I'm not sure. He likes Brazilian life too much. I could see him just staying in Brazil, playing for random clubs, just to see his time out there. Like, yeah, he's went from Mineiro to Grêmio. I could see him just doing another move like that or something. Again, great profile, great suggestion in line with what we're saying. Yeah, kinda. But he's actually good. It's not that he just looks like him or runs like him or has dreadlocks. He doesn't even have dreads. But like, when you see him scoring, I'd love to put highlights on. But and the thing is, well, I've said this before, but his striking partner at Spartak Moscow that season was a guy called Sobolev, who was quite Sutton-esque without the brains, but play brains, he was all right. Willian Jose is just moved to Bahia. Otherwise, oh, by the way, I would love Mario, but I don't think Brendan likes Mario. That's the problem there. Wee bit of previous history there. Yeah, probably. As long as Balotelli can drive to Brescia, he'll sign for anyone. I don't think he can drive to Brescia from Glasgow, so I don't think that'll happen. But yeah, OG veteran strikers. That's a fun. It's a fun category to think about. Although I don't see us actually doing it. But if we're seriously not going to sign in our striker, and we're going to sign wingers and forwards, like guys like Falcao, man, I would just be phoning him up and saying, "Do you fancy it?" I'll pay him like decent bottom dollar, like $8,000 a week, 10 grand, you know, whatever, like decent bottom dollar, nothing too mental. 1 year contract or pay as you earn or a goal bonus through the roof, something. But if we are making investments, this is probably the main point. So I'll kind of circle back to this. If we're making investments up front, Yamada, Osmond, who played B team football the other day, by the way, and Kenny, who's just got a 4 year contract, and we're not giving them a mentor like we're doing with the goalkeeper, which is a great example of what we're talking about here, then what are we expecting from these guys? They're going to turn out to be like good SPFL strikers. Not a great investment. Avalars, we kind of went through that at the beginning of the show, buddy. I've not heard anything in particular. Contract status and player profile, I think that's a move that could very seriously happen quite quickly. I think really, there's no reason Celtic should not be signing him. Contract is up in 6 months. Good age is one stuff as well, which I value very highly for anyone that Celtic signs. I want people to come to Celtic who have displayed a winning mentality, have climbed a mountain, which is why I like the go-ahead Eagles guys, because winning the Dutch Cup with them is massive, you know. We want guys, and that's the thing that Celtic offers Nicholas Kuhn. This is the thing that Celtic offers Odsonne Edouard or Jota or Kyogo, all these guys. Like Kyogo, we looked at it. Had only won the cup in Japan, comes to us and knows what it takes to win leagues, knows the pressure of being in a big club. And you can see how it's benefited the likes of Van Dijk and Frimpong in their careers, where they know once they've been at Celtic, see going to Liverpool, Leverkusen, all these types of clubs, it's not a shock to their system. Maybe like the actual money commercial scale of the thing is different, fine. But fan pressure, expectation on the pitch, it's not new to them because they've experienced it here in the Goldfish and the Cauldron, you know. And Strelic, Thomas, yeah, we don't want to touch this. If we're not going to sign Balikwisha for 6 million, if we're not going to sign Briam for 6 million, we are not buying some guy from Slovakia for 10 million. It's just not happening. I said the same thing about the Romanian lad where we're linked to Shaden Morris. Like, I'd rather have Shaden Morris come off the bench than nobody, I guess, but he's not really much more than that, is he? Hulk, oh, by the way, what a shout. Hulk is a big earner, but I don't think he's as old as some of these other guys, is he? Oh, he is. He's way older. He's 39. He's still contracted. 1.7 million a year. Yeah, I'm not up for that. 5-year contract? No, I'm all right. I'm out. I don't like that. By the way, Messi's worth a phone call. Messi is worth a phone call. You know he loves Celtic and he's got enough money. Negrent is a great player. And no, we should not be going for Bojan Miovski. I think his Girona career really shows you we dodged a bullet with him. Fine player in the Scottish League, but is not capable or has not. In a great situation at Girona. Let's go and put him on screen. In a great situation at Girona. So Girona, when they signed Miovski, it just qualified for the Champions League. They signed Miovski. They signed another striker called Abel Ruiz. Abel Ruiz they'd signed from Braga. May have formerly been a Barcelona academy guy or whatever. Stuani is one of these veteran kind of strikers we're chatting about here. And like Miovski couldn't get in the team ahead of him. He had one good game. Maybe had an injury or two that's maybe a wee bit underreported, but if you cannot get into this Girona team that has 38-year-old Stuani and then Abel Ruiz, who is a short, stocky, like fox in the box type striker that did not work either, he's not going to cut it for us in the Champions League. You're not going to... Aidan, I love that thought as well, but I think Aspas is married to Celta Vigo. They're in Europe this year, so you're not going to get him out of there, I don't think. But great shout. Yeah. I would love that. I'm a big Sterling fan. I really like Raheem Sterling. Man City is the English team I've followed my whole life. It's been kind of easy to just drift away from them recently because they just win all the time. And for me, being a Celtic fan, supporting Man City was like my underdog team. You know, when they had like, you know, they're bouncing up and down between the Prem and the Championship. They got that money at first when they got Sven. It wasn't really that game changing, but they did sign some players. And that was fun. And it was like, oh, can they beat Man U? And oh, wow, finishing in the top 4. But yeah, it's kind of done now. But anyway, Sterling, Rodgers loves him. He's got a great relationship with Rodgers. Obviously, gave him his debut. And speaking of that, by the way, there was an Ecuadorian I really wanted us to sign who has now moved to Mexico. His name is Pedro Vite. This guy would have been brilliant for us. Brilliant. There's no two ways about it. Very good performer in MLS. He's went to Liga Mexis or Liga MX and will probably do pretty fine there as well. 23, midfielder, striker, can do so much. Had issues, not sure how much was on. He couldn't make it into the team, River. See, that's my point. Like, Stuani. Like, how old is he now? He's currently 38, so he's 37. Can he run? This guy, but he loves being in the box for 30 minutes. And that's kind of what they've done. So they needed a striker that could play for 60 minutes and run a team down and then bring someone else on to finish, like Stuani. And Miovski couldn't do it. La Liga is a tough league. The defenders are really tough. But it was still... listen, if we signed Miovski, he would outperform Adamida domestically in spades. I don't really think there's much of a question about that from what we've seen of him at Aberdeen. But it's Champions League, man. That's what we're thinking about. I don't think he changes it for us. Son, yeah, I don't think he's moving to Glasgow. It'd be better than either. Like, I think I would give you that now, right here, right now. If you put Adam Idah and Miovski, if you could kind of go through the multiverse and imagine we signed one or the other, Miovski's probably got more Celtic goals at this point than Adam Idah. Probably. This season, especially. Last year, who knows, jury's out. But Osako, yeah, Osako's a good shout as well. I liked him a lot in Europe. Oh no, that's the goalkeeper we've clicked on, sorry. I think he's got quite a chunky contract at Vissel Kobe. Yeah, maybe, but I don't think so. If Paddy Roberts wants away, you just feel it happening, don't you? Yeah, I don't think he really makes a difference to the situation we're in. I don't think he changes our Champions League prospects or anything like that. And given enough time, Adam Idah, like, scored 20 last season, he'll probably score something similar given the minutes this year. Maeda through the middle and two wingers is probably the best thing we could do. But that's then signing more players. And then when we look at the depth charts, adding Maeda into the forward line. So if we did do that, again, this is another thing that Celtic fans say all the time that I'm kind of like, oh, it makes sense, right, to me, right? But let's imagine that that's what we do. This is then how many strikers we've got. We then would need to buy still, where's Yang? Oh, there he's there. We would then still need to buy a starting winger for here and a backup winger for here. And really, is that, I don't even think that really, I think you kind of need to buy 3 players if you do that rather than 2, to be quite honest with you. So I get the theory, the logic behind it, but look at all these strikers now we would have on the books. I just don't think Celtic would allow that. Benzema? Oh, really? Yeah, we're getting a lot of really old gold here. The guy Hoch, I think he's all right, isn't he? Casper, I think he's all right. Not seen him. Can't really speak on him with any level of detail. But Celtic do love the Scandies, don't we? Doing well for Bodo. But again, a lot of the guys that have went to Bodo in the past, like Bodo. Don't know if this will bring it up because it's not got the funny O's in it. That does good. Right, so let's look at this, right? Transfers, record departures, right? I love Evian, by the way, and JPH, Huig, Avalars, some really good shouts there. I do like those guys. Not really strikers, but Evian's a winger. I'd take Evian in a minute. So let's see. This is record sales, isn't it? All seasons. Gronbeck. Where is he now? This guy, never heard of him. Where is he now? Viltessen is still at Bruges. Boniface. Wow, did he come from Bodo? Fair enough. Boniface has went right to the top. But the guys I'm thinking about in particular is Bothiem. I think we've been linked to him. Patrick Berg, where we're linked to him. Casper Juncker, he's got no knees. And there was somebody else. I'm sure there was. Well, Evian, they've got him back. He kind of makes the point for me, I guess, as well. JPH makes the point for me as well. And this guy, I don't know where he is, so let's just open his tab as well. Right, so Gronbeck, they sold to Rennes, is at Genoa. Went to Southampton. For good transfer fees, maybe he's all right. Don't know enough about him, to be quite honest with you. This guy, never heard of him. Their second record sale is still at Marseille. Didn't even know this guy existed. Bothiem is at Malmo. They sold him for a pretty penny to Russia, to Italy. back to Scandi. Patrick Berg, who Celtic fans were all over, weren't they? Left Bodo, went to Lons, and is back at Bodo. Evian. Again, I would take Evian because he's like Negren. He actually has real techers. That leaves Bodo, Alkmaar, Bromby, back at Bodo. JPH, this is a player. He's not. See, the thing with JPH is we didn't have. Says he's a winger, right? But he couldn't really get into the team at Frankfurt because he's a wee guy. By comparison, he's not really wee, but I like him a lot. He's got really good ability. I'm just not that convinced he would be a good Celtic player. Maybe he would be, but again, leaves Bodo, doesn't really work out, ends up back at Bodo. I think there's just so many of these guys that Bodo have been making coin on that don't really go anywhere. This guy went to Young Boys eventually. So, yeah, I'm always a wee bit like, Bodo players, I don't know what to think about them, but maybe it's a bit 50-50. Boniface has worked out. Voltessen is still where he is. Gronbeck has been, even if he didn't work out, people have still sold him for more money. Calvert-Lewin is about to sign for Leeds, I think. I would not want Josh Sargent at all. If you think Adamida is bad, I wouldn't want Josh Sargent. Not before the game. Not before the game. I don't see it at all. .6 I'll make a wee note of this. 6 foot. Tech tree. Maxed out. Dual winner. On it. I'll tell you a bit of homework for next week. Strangelove the Doctor. Also, like the other striker who's in MLS now, I think. Yeah, I think that maybe doesn't make this list. Whoever it was. But yeah, some of these guys just go nowhere, man. They're all hyped up because they come from Bodo, or these guys will get great agencies, to promote their players, I would say. Yeah. I wasn't, see, when we were very first linked to Kvitsgarden, I was like, nah, I don't see it. I had a purple patch, but not much beyond that. But he then did follow that up with a very good season, and I ate my words. I said, okay, maybe this guy is the real deal. But yeah, if that's the case, then fair enough. Oh, Pellegrino. Yeah, Pellegrino. So Pellegrino was at Bodo, and he was like their Louis Palma. Like, could take all the set pieces and free kicks and whatever. And he went to San Jose. Is he still there? Yeah, he is. San Jose. After all the hype around this guy, he can't even really get in the San Jose team quite often. Does have techers, but no mistake about it. Almiron has just got a big money contract to go back to where he came from. I don't think that's happening. Who's meant to go to Wolfsburg? Oh, Josh Sargent. Yeah, don't see that happening on any level for Josh Sargent or for us. And see if the Stengs thing isn't real. I don't know if you've seen this, right? But some birds, I can't even remember her name now, Stacey or something, said Celtic should go after Stengs or whatever, and it was just pure clickbait. But me and I gave him a shout out last week. I never really properly dropped his handle. I'll give you his handle. He's a good account to follow. It's a friend of mine, Ross Henderson. Ross H Scouting. Give him a follow. But me and Ross have been saying for years, McBride and this as well, the three of us are all good pals. Stengs. Like, he left, where did he go again? He left AZ Alkmaar, and he went somewhere quite good, and it flopped. And I really want Nice or Rennes, something like that. I think we'll be able to find on this page. And we should have went from then. He's went back to Feyenoord. Yeah, it was Nice and Antwerp. We should have got him before he went to Feyenoord, but he went to Feyenoord. He's done great, and it feels like he's maybe fell out with the Feyenoord hierarchy. This is a guy that really, whatever the value is, what we're looking at here, 7 million. I'd even double that. I'd pay 14 million for Stengs, no problem. Can play wide, can play 10. You could probably make him play up front if you really needed him to. Was amazing against us in the Champions League, you might remember. He fits the bill as well. He's about 6 foot, isn't he? Yeah, just under. I would take Stings. I'd pay almost anything Celtic. I'd break the transfer record for Stings. I would. He's a proper player. Yeah, Finers are knocked out the Champions League now as well. Ziyech, great takers, but again, it's just not really worked out for him, has it, since Ajax? Like, it was all right at Chelsea for like a minute, and then he went to Galatasaray, and it didn't really totally work out there either. Big Banza is not a bad shout. Banza's at Trabzonspor still, isn't he? Oh no, he's at Braga. He's maybe just moved, mate. I think he maybe missed the boat on him. Was that a loan to Trabzonspor? Oh, okay. If he's available, he's the guy that fits the bill. 6 foot, 29, maybe a bit on the old side for Celtic. Gallardo. Yeah, I know it wasn't a real link. It was just clickbait. Like, it was just statistic. The first thing was, it was like, according to like data profiling, it would work very well. And then some bird on Twitter like made it into a thing. And it was, she even, if you look at the responses, she said she's done it for a laugh, and it really grew arms and legs. So yeah, it's not a real thing, but we're in negotiations to bring back Paul Slane. I can see it, by the way. I can see it. Slaney could do a job at left wing for us right now. Yeah, one of them went to Solbakken. That's who. Remember, we were all after this guy. Ola Solbakken. He's at Nordisland now. Not that they're a bad team, but it's not as if he went on to great things or anything. Is he still contracted to Roma? No, they've sold him. Yeah, the Bodo just didn't sell him. Oh, it was a free transfer. That's why he never come on that page there. But yeah, so I don't think we really missed out on much with some of these Bodo players that we've not got over the years, because they kind of end up kind of back at square one, don't they, eventually? Is that injury prone for him? Fair enough. Do you know, see if this was Ronnie Dyla Celtic. If this was Ronnie Dyla Celtic, we would have signed Lennon Miller, not Arne Engels. Fact. And we'd have probably been better off as a result, coincidentally enough. And yeah, if it was Ronnie Dyla, Boyle would be our Chifchi, wouldn't he? Which probably wouldn't be that bad a thing domestically, you know? I think the only players like Chiesa are youth players, isn't it? Raul Jimenez, I don't really see that happening. I think he's on too big money. The thing with some guys like Raul Jimenez is, like, see in Mexico, he is like the main guy. He is like the star. So he only wants huge contracts, you know, essentially. I think he's in Mexico now, isn't he? There's still a film. Did he go on loan in Mexico or something? No, I'm tripping. Don't know why I thought he was back in Mexico. Yeah, well, okay. If he's coming out of the Prem, I could see it. But again, he's coming off a Prem contract. He'll want decent cash. Just don't really see it happening. Joe's 189 pass accuracy is pretty good. I like Shin a lot as well. I really do. I really, really do. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've just realised the time. We've been a wee bit over. And we've just been kind of Ali So. Nah, I'm not a fan of Ali So, sorry. I don't know what happened to him. What was his name again? What was his name again? I cannot remember. But I think Shin, yeah, I think Shin will come good. But I just don't think that's the answer, is it, at the moment? Sadly, for all things considering. But guys, I've got to admit, in the first 20 minutes, I had no idea. Yeah, Giovanni something. Well, make up my search history. Giovanni Ambrosini. Was it Ambrosini or Ambrosino? Found him. He's in my search history. Boom. Oh. Ambrosino. Ambrose. Aye, somebody else has got it here. That's maybe the right spelling. Ambrosio. Ambrosio. Was it this guy? I've been done, haven't I? These have done me. I think it was just paper talk, buddy. I think it was just paper talk. Napoli. Is he still in the squad? Giuseppe. Still at Napoli. Do a wee Twitter search on it. Could stay. Despite Cremonese interest 4 hours ago, which means it's only them that's interested, isn't it? According to the locals, anyway. That was last season. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I say in the first 20 minutes, I was worried we wouldn't have much to talk about today, but we had an absolute bunch. So thanks to you all. And we managed to just rant and rave for the whole time. So thanks to everyone that did tune in. And we will be, we should be live tomorrow night with me and McBride to preview the cup game at the weekend. And I'll be back actually live on Friday to just do like a weekly catch up. It might not be too dissimilar to this show we've done today. Thanks to everyone that tuned in. Thanks to everyone that's hit the like button as well. We've got past the first magic number of 67, but the second magic number on the channel is 88. After that, we want to get past 100 and we want to soar into the sky. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in. Please like, subscribe, share, retweet. Hail, hail, fingers crossed, say your prayers. I'm on the hoops.